Looking for a fun way to boost your English? Quick chats, easy tips, and a whole lot of poppin' energy, all in one place. This is Podcast Popcorn. Let's pop into it and make learning fun.
Okay, have you ever found yourself needing to sort something out at a bank, maybe while traveling or even just online, and you hit a wall with the English terms?
Oh, absolutely. Things like checking account, overdraft. They can feel like a bit of a puzzle if English isn't your first language.
Yeah, and it's stressful when it's about your money. You want to feel confident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that basic financial language is just so crucial for feeling, well, in control.
Which is precisely what we're digging into today. We've been looking at some really great material from Ryan and Bella over at the Podcast Popcorn YouTube channel.
Yes. Their stuff is really practical. They focus specifically on understanding bank accounts in English, aimed, I believe, at around the A1 level.
That's right. And what's great is how they simplify these, sometimes complex ideas. Very clear language, very practical examples.
Yeah, they make it super approachable. So our plan today is basically to pull out the key vocabulary, those common phrases they highlight.
So that you, listening, can feel more prepared next time you have to deal with banking stuff in English.
Sounds like a good mission.
So where did Ryan and Bella kick things off? Looks like they started with the basics, the different types of accounts.
Makes sense. That's the first hurdle, isn't it? Knowing what's what. They started with the checking account.
Right, the everyday one.
Exactly. Your day-to-day spending, paying bills, getting cash with your debit card, maybe writing checks if you still do that. That's your checking account.
And they mentioned it's sometimes called a current account in other places, like the UK maybe.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point they made. Good to know both terms so you don't get thrown off.
Okay, so checking account for daily stuff. Then the savings account. Pretty self-explanatory, that one.
Yeah, that's where you put money you want to keep aside, maybe let it grow a bit. And the key thing there, which they pointed out, is interest.
Interest.
Yeah.
The bank pays you a little bit.
Basically, yeah, for letting them hold onto your money. It's usually not a huge amount on a basic savings account, but it's something.
But there might be limits on taking money out.
Sometimes, yes. That's a detail to watch for. It encourages you to actually save.
Got it. They also covered joint accounts.
Yeah. Useful for couples, families, anyone sharing finances. Just makes managing shared bills and things like that much easier.
Definitely. And the last type they mentioned, certificates of deposit or CDs.
Right. Now, these are a bit different. Not really for everyday spending.
More like a longer-term saving strategy.
Exactly. You agree to leave your money in the bank for a fixed period, could be 6 months, a year, 5 years.
And you can't touch it.
Generally, not without a penalty, no. But the trade-off, as Ryan and Bella explained, is you usually get a better interest rate than a standard savings account. Locked away, but earns more.
Okay, interesting. So those are the main account types. What about the actions, the things you actually do?
Yes, the verbs. They covered the essentials. To deposit money.
Just means putting money in, right?
Simple as that. And
Yeah.
the opposite. To withdraw money. Taking it out.
Can't do much without those two.
Pretty fundamental, yeah. And then the trusty ATM automated teller machine.
The cash machine. Always good to know that acronym.
Definitely. Lets you do those basic deposits and withdrawals yourself, often 24/7. And speaking of doing things yourself,
Online banking. Mobile banking.
you got it. Managing your accounts through your computer or smartphone. So common now, it's almost the default way for many people. Check balances, transfer funds, pay bills.
Super convenient. And to keep track of all that activity.
The bank statement. That record the bank sends you or that you access online showing all your transactions. Deposits, withdrawals, fees, everything.
Crucial for checking everything's correct.
It really is. And also for understanding things like overdraft.
Ooh, yeah. When you spend more than you have.
Exactly. And that usually triggers fees, charges from the bank. They might charge for the overdraft itself or monthly maintenance fees, things like that.
Good to be aware of those potential costs. And they mentioned interest again here too.
Yes, just to reiterate that it's the money the bank pays you, usually on savings.
Yeah.
Important not to confuse it with fees, which you pay the bank.
Okay, clear distinction. Now, Ryan and Bella didn't just list terms, did they? They use a conversation.
Right, a role play. Which is fantastic for seeing the language in action. They've simulated someone going into a bank to open an account.
That's such a common scenario. How did it start?
The customer used a really clear, polite phrase, "I'd like to open a new checking account." Perfect opener.
Simple and direct. Love it. And the bank rep offered choices.
Yep. A basic account versus a premium one. This happens a lot.
What was the difference in their example?
The basic one was free if you kept a $500 minimum balance. That's a key term.
Minimum balance. The lowest amount you need to keep in there to avoid fees.
Precisely. Dip below that, and you might get charged a monthly fee.
And the premium, what were the perks?
That one had a $10 monthly fee, but you got extras like cash back on purchases, free wire transfers.
Wire transfers. Those are for sending money electronically, often internationally, right?
Exactly. And things like higher ATM withdrawal limits. So you pay more, but you get more benefits.
Makes sense. Which one did the customer pick in the role play?
They went for the basic account, probably trying to avoid that monthly fee.
Smart choice, maybe, if you can maintain the balance. What about paperwork? What do they need?
The usual stuff, really. A government photo ID, driver's license, or passport. Social security number, which is specific to the U.S. context, but similar ID numbers exist elsewhere.
Okay. And an initial deposit.
Yes, an initial deposit, the first bit of money to put in. In their example, it was at least $100.
Good to know what to bring. And they talked about the debit card.
Yeah, the rep said it would arrive in the mail in about 7 to 10 business days and offered to help set up online banking right there.
Convenient. Anything else from that conversation?
One more choice. The customer decided to opt for paperless statements.
Getting them online instead of in the mail.
Right, which, as the rep pointed out, is a bit greener, too.
Nice little touch. So just from that short dialogue, we got minimum balance, wire transfers, initial deposit, opt for paperless statements. Really useful stuff.
Absolutely. Seeing them used naturally makes such a difference compared to just a list of words.
Totally agree. And then Ryan and Bella did something really cool. They gave the listener homework.
Well, a practice exercise. They suggested pausing and trying to imagine or even write down a quick dialogue.
Like, what would you say if you needed to check your balance? Or, report a lost debit card.
Exactly. That active practice is key, isn't it? Taking what you've learned and trying to produce it yourself really helps cement it.
For sure. It moves it from passive listening to active use.
And they even provided an example for one of those scenarios, checking your balance.
Oh, helpful. How did that one go?
Again, started very politely. Hello, I'd like to check my account balance, please. Politeness seems to be a theme.
Always a good idea, especially in a service situation.
Yeah.
Then ID check.
Yep, standard procedure. The rep asked for ID and the debit card to verify, then gave the balance they used, $2,458.72 is the example.
Just a random number to make it concrete.
Right. And offered a printed receipt. Little details like that are helpful.
Did the customer ask anything else?
Yeah, a follow-up question about a direct deposit. You know, when your salary, something gets paid straight into your account.
Good question. Did they get confirmation?
Yes, the rep confirmed a deposit of $8,850 from XYZ company had posted the day before. Shows how you can ask about specific transactions too.
Very practical example.
Yeah.
And then just polite goodbyes.
Pretty much. Standard closing remarks. It models a complete, simple interaction.
So pulling it all together, what's the big picture here from Ryan and Bella's material?
I think the main takeaway is just how practical this specific area of English vocabulary is. It's not abstract grammar. It's language you might genuinely need tomorrow.
Right. If you travel, work internationally, or just use online services based in English-speaking countries, you're going to bump into these terms.
Exactly. And knowing them just gives you that bit more independence and, confidence when you're handling your finances. It's empowering.
Definitely. It removes one layer of potential stress.
Will say.
And looking ahead, it sounds like our next deep dive might tackle another really common situation, making appointments in English. Doctors, salon, that kind of thing.
Ooh, another very useful one. Everyday scenarios.
So keep an ear out for that. But for today, thinking about this banking language, maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah, perhaps think about how you could start using this. Even if you don't actively bank in English right now, could you practice? Maybe look at an English bank's website.
Or even, like you said, try saying some of these phrases out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to open an account. Could I check my balance?
Exactly. What questions would you ask? Think about your potential situation. If you looked at your own bank statement, maybe there's an English option online. Could you spot terms like deposit, withdrawal, fee?
It's a great practical step. Actively engaging with it makes it stick so much better.
It really does. So give it some thought. Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe take a closer look at those bank details.
That's it for today's podcast popcorn. Got questions or topic ideas? Write them in the comments. If you like this, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more English tips. See you next time. Pop on.